Alright, so today I have a little bit of a different video. I'm actually solo queuing in this game and I'm playing Renekton uh, against, let's see, we have an Annie, a Nocturne, a Soraka, a Tryndamere, and a Kassadin versus my team, a Karthus, a Cho'Gath, a Sona, and Irelia, and myself. I figured I'd play a game as Renekton because I'm getting back into playing a lot of melee DPS and a lot of melee DPS that isn't necessarily considered super ridiculously strong in a lot of cases, but has its moments, and typically these are your classic tanky DPSs. Right now, I really like the way Renekton plays a bit more because of some of the item choices that are around, particularly with the changes to Wit's End. It means that he has a couple of options for his magic resist item. And you can build him nicely tanky because his base damages are pretty good. Let's see. But I guess I can talk through how Renekton works. So if you've never played him, his passive is based around his mechanic, which is Fury, which you generate every time you hit. Or with, I think even your abilities also give you Fury as well. I have to double check that. But anyway, when you generate 50 Fury, your bar changes color to red. And that means that your next ability cast, while you still have that 50 Fury, will do something extra. And that's really nice, because he's not really the strongest if you're trying to play him as a pure melee DPS, just buying straight damage all the time, because of the fact that his cooldowns are a little bit long. His damage output isn't bad, but he really relies on his abilities a little bit to get some stuff done. So I'm still waiting on this to completely load. Don't know why it's taking so long. Hopefully it does actually load correctly. But anyway, so Renekton's moves. His Q is an AoE around himself, and it heals him for a percentage of the damage that he deals out. His W is a stun, which is pretty awesome. Solo target stun. It basically is a buff on his next attack, and it is either a 2-strike or it's a 2-strike basically, which is pretty awesome. His E is a dash forward move. It's his gap closer. If he hits something on the way with the first dash, he gets a second one. And then his ult, it's very similar to Nasus's ult, where he gets extra health and he deals damage around himself. The difference is that Renekton's just basically gives him lots of Fury per second, and it doesn't increase his AD, making him a much better tanking candidate and less of a damaging candidate when he activates his ult. So I guess I should talk about the Fury when you have 50 Fury. When you have 50 Fury, you have a bonus to your abilities. His Q, damage goes up, and the healing goes up. Pretty handy. His W, he instead of the 2-strike attack with the stun, he does a 3-strike attack, and it has a slightly longer stun. His E, and this is the one that's a little bit deceptive. A lot of people don't really think about what his E can do when he has the Fury bonus, because a lot of people are more likely to want to stun for longer or for the healing. But his E, when it does it, is it grants 15% reduced armor. I think that's at level 1. I think it might go up. But the reduced armor is usually really handy for someone like him, and is part of the reason why you can have a little bit less and make him more tanky instead of just buying lots and lots of damage. So I run Ignite and Flash. I don't have either of them spec'd. I run 0-21-9. I would carry Exhaust with him. I think Exhaust is also handy, but I like Ignite better for certain matchups, particularly in this matchup with the Tryndamere, because obviously when he goes into Endless, if you can catch the Ignite on him, you know, around the middle of his Endless, it's almost guaranteed that he will he'll die, basically. So here you see me just kind of last hitting. My last hit in the beginning of this game is not bad with Renekton. I run really high armor pen. I have armor pen Reds and Quints, just to, you know, maximize his damage in the early game and kind of help him really nice against guys who don't buy armor. And then it also helps his abilities, of course, as well. because all of his abilities are physical except for his what is it? Except for his ult, basically, it would be the only thing that does magic damage. I also carry Flash because Flash in general is very handy, especially on someone who can't easily gap close. Renekton's range with his E is super short, so that's why I carry Flash. And let's see, back to runes. Sorry about that. I'm kind of rambling a little bit. Yellows of armor, because in general it's always good to have armor unless you really want dodge, because sometimes, but I prefer armor on all of my melee DPS, not dodge, because dodge is very situational and can't block abilities. Blues of magic resist, because I'm trying to make him really tanky. And then, yeah, and that's my rune setup. So here I started with a magic resist cloak and the health pots. The one thing I didn't notice during the loading screen was the fact that the Soraka didn't connect. So when I initially did my count, I counted 3 magic and 2 physical. So I figured it'd be in my best interest to pick up a magic resist cloak, which doesn't really help me as much here. But, you know, it's okay. It's not going to be too much of a problem, because Tryndamere really doesn't do a lot of damage at this level. And he honestly can't really solo top as easily, especially against this combination here, with the Sona having nice range, and her early game damage is amazing. And also the fact that I'm really tanky. I don't build Renekton to be super squishy and, you know, high damage. I built him to be extremely tanky, so he can't. Even if he crits on me, the Tryndamere is going to do a reasonable amount of damage, but not a lot. And also, I'm just going to keep dashing out of the way to avoid taking more than 1 strike. My skill order, I favor my Q and my E a lot. I don't really like a lot of points in his W, because it's not as handy. The stun's good, but the fact that you have to be in melee range is really tough. And to be honest, it's not a move that I would really think you'd be pulling off all of the time. Most times, when you're going to go in to kill someone, you're going to stun them once and run everything else. Here you see me just kind of put a light harass on him, because he actually lines himself nicely up for me, and can allow me to sort of keep him away from the creep wave just a little bit.